Hi, I would like to relay some information that I received from the Arcturians of the 11th dimension. Telling you a little bit about what led up to this channeling that was really just some clarity actually for myself, but I would like to share it. So I was reading the raw information, The Law of One. It's a book. I do believe you can get it online, actually free. It is online, but you can order it through Kindle and paperback, hardback. But I was reading that as well as the Quo, and they speak about the harvest, and which is really the ascension, just with another name, although they refer to it as well as the graduation. That's what the Quo refer to it as we are graduating from the third density up to the fourth and fifth. And I wanted some clarity on that, but I wanted some clarity about service to others rather than service to self. Because in it, it's very enforcing service to others, and I do hear that a lot. Service to others, help others, be compassionate. I tend to be a people pleaser. I'm gonna basically fess up to that. And so what I realized, and as well as people that I work with, we get very burned out. We have to take care of ourselves. And yet, when I would read upon this information, as well as come across some videos and things like that, it's basically saying what I'm taking away. Some of it is do more to grow into love, do more by serving more. So I wanted some clarity on that, because I am getting mixed messages, because I have also been told from spiritual teachers as well as just supervisors and friends even, that say, Heather, you need to take care of yourself. You need to set some boundaries, take care of yourself. And I do agree that is very important. We must serve ourselves, take care of ourselves, love ourselves. But I sometimes wonder if I should be doing more. How much should I be doing? Am I doing too much? So that's what led up to this channeling. And so to answer that question, just some clarity on what is really serving to others, what is a good balance to have. This is their response. And they started off by just clarifying that every soul individual has an energy polarity of feminine and masculine. And they described this as the feminine and masculine division. And what they said that is a consciousness field and a masculine field. So basically what they were saying is that the feminine is the consciousness field without form, and then the masculine is of the field of the form. So there is a polarity between reality and non-reality. So basically, what that means is that there is the form, your identity, but then there's also that consciousness of non-identity. So basically, you, and then the awareness that you are not this. There is more to you. And so they clarified that the masculine is paired with the ego, okay? And this is said with a non-judgment. It's not, declaring the ego bad. It is that the ego, the masculine, is about experience, and then the feminine consciousness is about feelings and knowing and the energy piece of ourselves. So we can think about, and then they clarified that would be more of the wisdom and then the knowledge. So they use those words, that the feminine was wisdom and then the masculine is knowledge. And so you could even think about that as turning wisdom into knowledge to use. So actually I'm just thinking, so me taking away this knowledge and me presenting it to you in a video is actually me using my ego and the masculine, as in I am manifesting and creating something tangible. So then they talked about that we want a non-attachment to reality. So we don't want to declare anything as ourself. So we don't want to declare even, our personality as ourselves. We don't want to declare, like ourselves like a YouTuber. We don't want to declare ourselves as the one who makes videos. Yes, we make videos. Yes, we're YouTubers. But we don't want to declare that as our identity. We want more of a non-detachment. And we want to understand all of it as us, all of it, even things that we do not do, even, identities that we are not. The past is us as well. The future is us as well. Ego is really when we are declaring something as ourself, and we cannot be ourselves if we do not have it. It's an attachment. So when we declare it as like a negative, unhealthy ego, we don't want to get rid of the ego. They were very enforcing that it is part of our reality. We have to have the ego to have our experience. Otherwise, we're just, falling into, oneness and unity consciousness. We have to have ego. The self-serving individuals, the one who identify as self-serving rather than service to others, identify with the ego and the masculine and not the feminine. So there's an imbalance within them. So really what that means is that they're set on one experience and denying others. So they are identifying with limitation. They are believing that they have to possibly take from others, steal from others, or they're going to have some sort of loss. They're going to lose themselves because that is their identity. And so they talked about the heart being a balance between the feminine and the masculine. And so it is a balance within us, and that is why they talk so much and enforce about the heart, is because it's a balance. And so yet again, the masculine and the ego is not a bad thing. It's just that we must balance it out with the feminine and have that awareness of our self, our true self, beyond this self, the forms. We must have a balance between the form and the formless. It's more of using the formless in form, not identifying with form. So the self-serving is very concentrating on form and experience and needing certain experiences. It's about fear. They get into about how the ego and negative use of the ego is about fear. So, okay, so they talked about how the negative uses of ego. It is when they have to possess something or worship something, which I found interesting that they brought that up, but that makes sense. So basically it's yet again the definition of understanding I am not me without that thing. So I need this thing to happen, otherwise there's a threat to my identity and who I am. So either service to self will take from others, they'll need to steal from others. So there's a limited amount of things, and I don't have that within myself. I have to seek it outside. So I have to steal it from somebody. And that's why they talk about the dark forces, we can call them the ego-based forces. The service to self forces will steal light from other people because they don't believe that they have that light. And, people who have to have power, I need to take that power for myself and not share it. So other people, I must enslave them. That sort of mentality. And then, so either taking from others or shaping others. And that makes sense too. So people who think, I have to go convert somebody, or I have to force them to be a certain way, or maybe even brainwash someone. And you must believe the way that I believe, or you must do the thing that I do. Otherwise, there's a threat to myself. I cannot be who I am if you choose to be something different. And then worshiping others. And that at first surprised me, but it does make sense. So when we declare them as, I will never ever match up to them, they're so much better than me, I have to worship them because I don't have that within me. So yet again, this is it's a separation. We can declare it. The ego in a negative way is about separation. And so then they differentiated the self-serving side opposed to the service to others side. And so the self-serving side focuses on the ego and must have something else to achieve their identity. So they have to have something, they have to take something to be who they are. At least that's their belief. And then the service to others is about unity and harmony and creation as a whole. And it sounds really good. However, what they're saying is that, to clarify, actually service to others can be based off fear as well. So the problem is when we think that we must do for others, and we have to people please, volunteer, martyrdom, or self-sacrifice, because it's conditional. So, okay, so take that in. So if we are serving to others and we're feeling like we have to do something, we have to give up something of ourselves, it's based off fear and setting conditions. So for me to be who I am, I have to give up a part of myself. I have to serve someone else to have worth, I have to give to someone else. I have to give my time, energy, that sort of thing. I have to give up something. I have to give away and take away from myself. So, and they were enforcing about how there's a lot of beliefs about rewards. That if we give and we do for others, we're going to get rewards back. And they did highlight about religion and how that is a highlight of religion, that you must do and must sacrifice for a reward later. And so then they talked about how it's on a spectrum. So there's two extremes. There's the taking completely and giving completely. And it falls on a spectrum. So, I mean, you could be taking from others 30% and then giving 70% of your time or your energy. And I'm probably gathering you could like bounce back and forth too, like a seesaw. And, you know, one day you might be, you know, self-serving, and then the other day you are service to others. So, okay, so then they were talking about how this is based off, you must do something to have something. And so even service to others can be based off having to do something to have something. And it's about a fear of loss. Like, if I don't help my neighbor when they ask for whatever, then I'm not a good person. If I don't help them, you know, that's, you know, that I'm not who I am. So I'm not a loving person if I don't go help them, that sort of thing. So it's very conditional. You're putting conditions on yourself. You're not unconditionally loving yourself. And so basically what they're saying is that is ego-based as well, because that is about separation. You are basically saying that you're putting conditions on yourself. You don't deserve love unless you do certain things. And if we go back to that idea about how we are not any particular form, that's identifying with your form, saying, you know, in your form you have to do certain things, otherwise you're not matching up, you're not worthy, you're not lovable. Yeah, and then they said, we do not have to lose anything or gain anything to remain ourselves. We are ourselves regardless. So we are the soul regardless of what we do in form. And oftentimes too, the guys will call this the playground or a game that we're playing out. And so they're very non-judgmental, even for the self-serving individuals. And it's really just a game, a play that they're taking a role in. And so they're not placing conditions on anybody or anything. They have the identity of unity, of understanding that no matter what we do, what we experience, it's just we have a constant of the Creator, and we can't, no matter what happens, we're not separated from that. And so that's really what I'm taking away here. And they also said that there's a spectrum of light, right? So there's the self-serving, completely self-serving, and then the serving to others on completely. And to be a light being, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be completely serving others. And it also, you know, it has to do with how are you serving others too, right? So it's not just what we're doing, but why we're doing it. And is it from an ego? Is it a fear-based? Or are we, giving, and I'm going to get into this, are we giving because it's heart-based? So, okay, and then they get into the new earth here. So people will go to the new earth if they learned the 3D lessons. And it doesn't have to do with the service to others. So basically what that means, okay? What that really means is it's about love and understanding, and from the heart space, it's not what we do. It's not how we spend our time or what we do necessarily. There's no condition saying, well, 3 days out of the week you must go volunteer. 3 days out of the week you must, convince somebody that there's light beings that are watching over us. No, there's no conditions like that, as in you must do such and such or think, so it has to do with your vibration. And so it's not about what you do, it's about your vibration. So, okay, so then they said as the energies flow into the earth, there is more understanding and awareness of self and others. And so, we're understanding outside of ourselves, others, to understand ourselves, and basically how the world and the universe is working and everything at large. And people are awakening to see things differently. And that's what matters more than what we do. So it's not necessarily how we spend our time, what we do. It's more about our vibration and that understanding of consciousness. So okay, so they said that the planet is rising beyond limitations. We are seeing more potential, more capacity, capability. So we're understanding that we're capable of more, other people are capable of more. We're seeing basically all different kinds of perspectives. And this is bringing up a lot more awareness. We are seeing a lot more. We are expanding a lot more. And we're rising, we're growing. And okay, so then they said that we must go beyond the ego attachment of self and our experience. That we must step aside that. Okay, being a light being, they were clarifying, is not needing to give away anything. So being a light being, because you think of a light being as like an angel or a guide who helps the earth, right? Helps the earth, is serving, is there, but there's no conditions on that. So to be a light being, what they really are enforcing here is they said that you must know the darkness to know the self, and you must develop unity. So you must know the light and the darkness. And so if you are only knowing the light, you're not going to expand as quickly. You're not going to understand the unity of things, because you have to understand that balance. You have to see the other side as well to really see the light, to really understand the light, because we have both polarities within ourselves too. So we have the light and the dark within ourselves, and we must know the dark to really know ourselves. And healing, I'm gathering more and more, is about we balance. Healing is really about loving and understanding all aspects of ourselves and all aspects of others and everything. So and that doesn't mean that you are choosing that. That doesn't mean that, just by understanding something you are choosing that. No, but it is going to serve you to understand that, instead of pushing it away and having separation. And so, okay, so they were saying that being is, okay. So then they went into how we should proceed to know how to serve. Okay, so basically, we're meant to serve, but it's how are we serving? Where is that serving coming from? Okay, so I decided to do this video today not because of an obligation. I did this video today because I did this channeling and I felt passion. I had a passion to serve and to share it. So I am sharing a part of myself. I'm not feeling like it is an obligation. I'm not feeling like it is a must. It is a choice. And it's therefore, I believe, from the heart. And so, okay, so what they did is they gave a formula here, okay, to really outline how to decide what to do. So they said that a lot of people here in the 3D will do and they will skip steps. So we have this concept that we have to be doing something, fixing something, planning. So if we have a problem, we're like, oh, we got to fix it. We got to do something right away. And they're saying, hey, slow down. Slow down. Don't rush into doing. I know this, going back to the whole masculinity and femininity, you have to understand the femininity, your consciousness, your awareness, your energies before you do. Don't just jump to the action. So, okay. And they did say, we have to do an action. I mean, it's important. We don't have to do an action. But we live in the 3D world as of today. We live in the 3D world. And in the 3D world, we have to do, not have, well, at some point you have to do some action. Actually, yeah, you do have to do action. Because you have to do certain things. You have to breathe. But, okay, so, in the 3D world, we live in a physical world, a tangible world. And so this is different than other dimensions, because once you raise your vibration, once you ascend, you have you don't have to have physical action in the sense that we do. So they clarified that as in, okay, in the 3D, you have to have one perspective, one experience at a time. So basically, okay, they gave the example of you can only say one thing at a time. This is true, right? I can't say bird and dog at the same time. I can't. You cannot be silent and speak at the same time. And you can only speak one language at a time. But in other dimensions, this is what they were telling me is, but they're from the 11th dimension. So basically what they were talking about is that they can choose multiple things at the same time. So basically, they could brush their teeth and take a shower and not have to choose one or the other, basically. And they went into timelines too, about how there's multiple timelines, because I was very interested. I was like, how, if there's no real time, why can you not say, specifically when things are going to happen and what will happen? And they said, that they are from a perspective in which they can see like basically all the timelines, multiple timelines. They see a lot of potentialities too. So they like see it all. It's very confusing. It's very confusing for us in this limited 3D to really understand that. But they're seeing basically probably all times, all timelines, all potentialities. But yet they still can't see what we will choose, because we have free will. So it's very interesting. Okay, so they said too that we must have a balance or we are going to get burned out. So we must have a balance between being seen and doing. And to do that, they said that first off, there's the formula. We must see our options. So we must. we don't have to do anything. There is no must, okay? Excuse my language. But okay, so they recommended, let me say it that way, that we see our options. So look at all the options that you have before you make a choice and step outside yourself. So some examples of that is maybe do some research, look at some teachers, gain some sort of understanding of maybe what other people have done. Look at other perspectives. And that doesn't mean that you have to choose what they chose, but having some contrast will help as well. Yeah, so they said, look and understand at other perspectives, but you do not have to become them. You do not have to choose what they chose, but it's going to help you understand yourself. And after that, they said to learn from their awareness. So look at other perspectives, learn from their awareness, and you will gain some awareness. And then the next step is to be. So sense and learn the self and go into the heart space. So I take away from that meditation, but really going and sensing within, going within. So first step, go without, go outside. And look at other people's perspectives. Look outside yourself. Go inside yourself. And when you go inside, and I don't think this necessarily has to be meditation. I could see this working out like you're having a conversation, understand what the other person is saying, gain an understanding of what they're trying to tell you, and then go within yourself, check it out in your heart. So, and then, I'm thinking this really goes with like heart discernment too. So like, you're watching my video, whatever I'm saying, look at my point of view, but then go within yourself. Check it out. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What is your views? Maybe you have an expanded view off what I am saying. So then you go within the heart. And they said that your heart is your guide. Your heart is going to tell you your mission. So your heart is going to tell you what to do with that information. What you're going to discover. You're going to have a knowing. And after you know, then that leads where you want to do the action. because their action, then you've gained other perspectives. You gain an understanding of yourself. So you're going to understand that feminine side, and then you're going to turn it into the masculine side. Where people are going wrong is that they do the masculine side and they're neglecting the feminine side. That feminine energies of feeling and knowing and recognition. And this is what's going to lead to, this is balance. And I said that when people skip these steps and they they get into loops. They get into loops of doing the same things over and over and over, and they get lost and trapped. That's probably where we get lost and trapped in karma. We are doing the same thing over and over, repeating patterns, and we get into limitations. We also see that we only have certain options. We'll get stuck, trapped. Okay, and they also said that sometimes action is unneeded, and action can be unneeded, okay, because maybe you go through this and you don't have to do anything because it is given. The universe will give it to you. The law of attraction, basically. So if you do these other steps, looking at your options, looking outside at others, and then being and knowing, sometimes you don't have to do then. And so probably, I'm guessing then, your heart is going to tell you, it's going to be your guide to probably, you don't have to take action. Maybe you're just going to know, hey, the universe has my back, the universe is going to give it to me. And they said this leads to flow and calling. So this is where people say, I'm in the flow, or I got my calling. This is how you get there. Okay, and yeah, so they said that the feminine should be the they said the feminine is like the driver. You want the feminine to be the driver. You don't want the masculine to be the driver of your vehicle, of you. You want the feminine basically to use the masculine, to use your body. And so, so the ego is not bad, your personality is not bad, but you want to step outside that and use your force. Use the force, Luke. Anyways, okay. So, there's more here, and I'm gonna create another video with that information, which will probably be a very, very short video. But I think that wraps up for that. And so I hope that helped clarify a few things, or just gave you some information, or, even if you see it as contrast and you disagree, I think that is, yet again, of service, as the Arcturians have said. So thank you for watching.